is an example, right? Here, awesome. There we go. Right here, we have a home page. Now, you may be familiar with our website builder. If you have websites included in your current license or contract within your organization, you have access to build out a website within the Campus Groups platform. So that is something that we have included here. Whenever you see these two little buttons, you're definitely knowing that you're working in a Campus Groups website that has been built out. So for this example here, right, we've built out a website for orientation. We have a video here to welcome users and students from the dean. We also have some information regarding orientation and then an opportunity to connect students with different resources. Once again, there might be some updates from the institution regarding COVID or a link over to showing different clubs and organizations on campus, as well as a link going over to the school calendar, which are going to show some upcoming events. And once again, this is a great opportunity, right, for you all to connect your users with some other outside resources. Maybe you want to direct them over to the financial aid office to be able to contact them. There is a section where we can pull in our orientation team. Uh, we can see the individuals who are going to be leading that. But once again, that is something that you can include in an event hub is going to be a website right here. As we continue on, right, really the flow of the Event Hub is going to be built out within this left side menu that users will have access to. So there's always an agenda. And once again, if y'all have questions, I'm going to talk about how to build this out. But there is the capability to pull in a list of events that are going to be pertaining to your larger event. Obviously, we're having orientation here, and within orientation, there are multiple events that users and students and family members can attend. So they'll always be able to see the different events that are associated with orientation. There's also then an orientation checklist. So if you are familiar with tracks and checklist module, this is my actual favorite feature within Campus Groups. But this is going to bring users to see a list of tasks, assignments, or items that they need to do and go through and complete. So you can always incorporate a checklist into your event hub as well. Once again, if you have that tracks and checklist module. A few other pieces to point out that are in our left side menu for this event hub. It's going to be the activity feed. So folks can always come here. They can post, update some pieces of information or upload a photo, right? Comment on different people's posts. Once again, this is going to be a really great opportunity to allow users to engage with each other and interact even before the event, during the event, and after the event as well. Folks want to hop on and say, hey, it was so great to meet you all at orientation. Can't wait to see you all in the fall, right? It's going to be a perfect place to be able to do that. There's this cohorts button that we've built out. So within the event hubs, you can build out what we call tracks here. And these tracks are going to highlight events that might be specific or pertaining to certain populations of users or different topics, right? So of course, at orientation, right, you might have a whole host of different events for folks to attend, but maybe there are some events that are going to be specific to transfer students, right? Or international students, maybe honor students, student athletes. You might have a specific, list of events for nursing school students, anything like that, right? You can always build out these different tracks. And so whenever a user clicks on these, they will be shown a list of those events that are specifically pertaining to that track, population, or topic. There's tons of other pieces, right? We have some orientation videos. You might want to connect users with an outside website, connect them with other social media platforms, so on and so forth. This is going to be a really great example and opportunity to see how an event hub can be utilized. And like I said, I have some other examples that I will show in just a bit, but any questions, anybody want to come off mute? Catherine, anything that I'm missing in the chat?
We did have a question in the chat that I was able to address about customizing the homepage in the Event Hub. It's not the standard customization that you would see on the main version of the platform. It'd be utilizing the website module, as Lewis mentioned. And then we just got another question. Can non-CG account holders access the Event Hub? Examples, families attending a graduate Event Hub.
Yeah, it's a really great question. You know what? Actually, because I know we made some changes around to the access rights. I'm not sure, Catherine, if you know off the top of your head, but an event hub can be made to be accessed by folks who are not in the platform. But there are some pieces that they'll need to have accounts for. So, of course, to register for RSVP for events, they will need to have an account in order to do that. So, a little bit of a yes and no. There is some content as it pertains to the event hub that users can see. Let me just hop over to manage real quick, see if I can pull that up.
Yeah, and I will say it's really, when it comes to the event hub, the full experience of an event hub does need to be a user with an account. So that could be a guest account, that could certainly be a parent or a family member. However, you can have the event that is ultimately the event hub was built around, we call it the parent event. You can have that visible to non-logged in users so they could see all the event details, they could see all the sessions that are included, the locations for that. You could also utilize the website module as we talked about. That can be public facing to include that information. But if you really want them to come in here and experience the hub to the full extent, they would have to have a guest account. But as Lewis is, I'm sure, about to say here, there's different permissions and settings that you can play with here.
Yep, that is the most perfect answer. Thank you so much, Catherine. And yeah, like I said, right here, there are some settings for your hub, who can enter this hub. You can set that to anyone, but once again, things are going to look a little bit more different and a little bit more restricted based off of those aspects that you have set up once they get in. So just like Catherine said, it really is meant to give users the full experience. And so in order for them to do that, they are going to need to have an account and should have an account. So yeah. Awesome. A few other examples that I want to show, once again, kind of seeing some of those same elements, right? Sometimes we see campuses and institutions utilize this for conferences. So once again, we have the same type of thing here. This is the DEI conference. It is linked to a Campus Groups built out website, right? We have some text here. Folks can click on this image, take them over to a video. We also have a sneak peek of some of those upcoming events, benefits regarding DEI, as well as connecting users with some outside resources. But once again, same piece, allowing users to go through the left side menu and focus on and watch some pieces. There's some widgets here that are new or different from the virtual orientation one. So there is a location one. So you can pull over a Google Maps widget. So if you know you want to highlight where an event is being held, you can always upload a link over to a Google Maps image there. So that's going to take users over to that. There may be some surveys or some pieces of information that you want to gather from users. So you can always include surveys in your event hub as well, whether that's after orientation or just gathering different pieces of information for interest. You can do that as well. Here, once again, we're seeing tracks, not for particular users, but once again, like I mentioned, they can be for topics. So once again, all of these have been built out as topics that users can focus on. And once they click on it, they will see the events that line up with those topics there. There's also a guest speakers widget. I love this. So you can pull over that widget and also be able to upload the speakers who are going to be there for the conference, right, or for this event. And here on the left-hand side, as you can see, it's going to show users which actual sessions they will be speaking for. So those are going to be really helpful as well. And there is an attendees drag and drop widget that you can also include. So users will have the capability to see, hey, who else is coming to this event? That's going to show them there as well. Couple of other examples here, right? We've built this out for a homecoming weekend. I won't be too repetitive. This one does not have a website, right, attached to it. So you can build out an event hub and not have a website, right? We've got great activity here on the activity feed. Folks are really excited about homecoming here. They have a schedule of events that are going to be there, as well as potential locations where all of these homecoming weekend locations are going to, or events are going to be taking place. And then finally here, right, as a example of a, tradition or just a standard commencement or graduation ceremony, right? Lots of campuses will also utilize it for this as well. Same type of thing, people getting excited and engaging with each other on that activity feed. We can take a look at the speakers that are going to be present for commencement. Imagine Tim Cook coming to speak at your graduation. I'm an Apple fanatic, so that's why I put that in there. But yeah, this is going to be a great opportunity for you to be able to upload once again those speakers. Same thing, being able to see the commencement location as well as those attendees and connecting with social media. I'm going to pause there. I know I just ran through a lot of information. I think we see some things happening in the chat. Any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a question here. So for users to see the Event Hub, do they have to be registered to the parent event first, or is that dependent on the settings?
It's going to be dependent on the settings. So that's a really great question. So yeah, right when you are hopping over here into your settings here, you'll navigate over to access rights here and be able to set up who has access to enter the hub. They will also need to register for the event to see the event within their engagement details in the platform as well. So you'll want to make sure they'll do both. So these pieces need to make sure that that's set up for the event hub, and then they'll need to register for the event itself so that it shows up under their schedule.
Great, that's all the questions that I saw in the chat right now, but please feel free to either come off mute or throw them in the chat. I see we have a hand raised, Allie.
Yeah, I was curious about beyond the activity feed, what are chat options available within the Event Hub?
Yeah, so you know what? Actually, Catherine, I might actually ask for your assistance on this because I know we've done some things in the past with our user conference before and the chat piece as it pertains to the Event Hub. I know there's an opportunity to pull chat over into the left side menu. So users will be able to find the chat there. I know there are some things with regard to info booths that we've built out before. Not sure if that's fully connected to Event Hub or if it also stems over into our virtual fairs.
Virtual fair, yeah, that the info booth is connected to the virtual fair. But if you were using both, you could, use them in conjunction there. But with the chat feature in the Event Hub, it's really going to pull in the chat module that exists in the platform into that Event Hub. So when they click on that, it would launch the chat module for them to either chat users, like find users within the directory to chat, or if they've been added to a chat. We often see folks will like upload chat groups kind of for maybe orientation leaders, if we're thinking of orientation to kind of monitor or communicate with folks. I will say, we get a lot of questions on, do we use the chat or do we use the feed? When thinking about that, one thing to know is that chats are considered private in the platform. So the only users who are going to have access to that information are the users who are listed in that chat. You can't access that by impersonation because it is considered private, whereas the activity feed, admins and officers can kind of monitor what's going on. So sometimes we do see folks opt to make maybe channels or different feed groups that are for those orientation groups. So that way any post or conversations could be overseen by admins or officers if there were any concerns. So there's certainly things to consider there depending on what your needs are.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Other questions? So I'll talk about a little bit about how to build. Yes, did someone
Oh,
come off?
no, go ahead. I thought, are you, maybe this question is based on the direction you're going now, so I can wait.
Okay, all good. Let me know. So I'll talk a little bit about how to build these out. And Elizabeth, please feel free to jump in or raise your hand if you have questions. But the first thing is, of course, choosing a group where you are going to have this your event hub live out of, right? So for here, for instance, we've created a new student orientation group. We've navigated over to our left side menu, into more tools, and then down into hubs. That will bring us to any hubs that have already been created from within this group. But if you haven't created any, you're simply going to click on that Create Hub button. That's going to give you a screen to choose whether you're going to go with the Community Hub or the Event Hub. And obviously, we are working through Event Hubs today, so that's the one that you would select. But once you have created that Event Hub, you are going to get a screen, pull up the settings again, that first looks like this. So event details are going to be the first thing that you do once you start your Event Hub. This is going to allow you to actually create the event first, right? So as you can see, we've given it a name. We've decided on the event type, description, all of those required fields there as it pertains to start date and time and end date and time. And then you just click save. So that creates the event within the group, and it gives this hub the event details, name, and information. As you saw, we also then want to dive into your hub settings. So we want to give this hub a name, upload an icon to go along with it as well, and then get into some of those pieces as they pertain to, which users can be in this hub. So you have that capability, right, to decide if you want folks to log in via them providing their email address and then being sent a 6-digit verification code, or selecting single sign-on. So if you have single sign-on already activated within your platform, you can choose that option if that's the route you'd like to go. Who can enter that hub, right? That's something we discussed earlier. And then more privacy settings if you really wanted to get very specific with who actually has access to this Event Hub, you can decide that utilizing this list here. If you all are familiar with certain parts of campus groups, right, we know that this list or a similar list will show up in many parts of the platform. So if you want it to be only those who are undergraduate students, right, you can select that by account type. You can also utilize it by your user tag. So maybe, hey, only the folks with these specific user tags should have access to this Event Hub. Continuing on, you have a couple branding options here, and then you'll get to decide on the landing page. So the landing page is going to be the page that users will see first upon opening the hub on a mobile device. I'll say most campuses choose the menu right here on the left-hand side, or the activity feed. Those tend to be the two most popular options, right? But they can obviously be set to chats or events as well. It'd also be important to know that you all can create this hub, but someone on our team will need to publish it for you. So if you know you already have it included, you're going to see this thing that says publish for $2.99. You don't have to worry about that. You might say, hey, I thought I had it included in our contract. It's all good. All you have to do is either reach out to your campus success or your client success manager, or if you're working with someone on the implementation side of things, you can always reach out to us as well, but we'll go ahead and publish it for you. After you've done those two pieces, event details and settings, then we get into the fun stuff, which is really designing what you want your menu for your Event Hub to look like. And those are the pieces, right, that we've gone through. So on the right-hand side, you have all of these are drag and drop widgets that you can include in your menu for your Event Hub. And I won't go through every single piece, but I'll certainly focus on some of the most important aspects that we tend to see be included in Event Hubs. But I'm going to pause for a second, see if anyone has any questions first before I talk about some of these widgets. Okay, awesome. Not seeing any so far, so I'm going to first mention here our WebView one. WebView is one that gets used very, very often. It is used, right, to incorporate an external website right within your app and your Event Hub menu. So if we click on this Canvas one, this is a WebView drag and drop. Whenever you pull a widget over, you're going to get a screen for almost all of these that will look very similar to this. Some will look a little different depending on the type of widget. But here we have the WebView drag and drop. Few things to point out. You're going to, of course, give this a name. So we've named this Canvas. Lots of campuses have their students work with Canvas. So let's say we want to build out a link to take users right over. You then have the menu icon, so you can click on change icon. You can scroll through our list and choose from hundreds of different icons that we have for you. You can type in some keywords to search through those icons there and be able to select the icon that you would like to have for your menu item, right? If you are a Star Wars fan, if you type in Star, we have a Death Star here for you as well. So tons of different icons to choose from. Enable menu. So if you set that to no, that means it's not going to show up in your menu for your users, right? You as an admin or as an officer are going to see it on this screen here, but it is not going to show up in your event hub or on your mobile app menu for your event hub. Once you're ready for your users to see it, you just set that to yes. And then here for restrictions, same thing. You can set each item that you're pulling over, right, to only appear to certain users. Once again, that similar list that we just saw previously, you'll be able to decide which users actually see that show up in the menu for the Event Hub. It's a few branding pieces there, but then you'll get into these two sections here. You can decide where you want this menu item to show up. If you only want it to show up on the web or the mobile version, if you only want it to show up on the web version, which is going to be in that left side menu on the computer version that we saw earlier, or if you want it to appear on both. And then, of course, this is a web view widget, so we'll need a website. And then you'll just navigate to the bottom and click Save. So it really is as simple as that, right? You've built it out there. And then if you click on this little laptop icon there, that's going to take you right over to the web version that we saw earlier. So that's what I mean. If you want it to be in the web version on this left side menu, that is how you'll do that. You can also, of course, only include it in the mobile app. Awesome. A few other pieces that I like to show are going to be this group of menus one here. This is really, really helpful whenever you want to nest multiple items under one section. So we've done it a few times throughout here, right? Here we have orientation videos, and we've built out some videos here. Well, this orientation videos is the group of menus. You do the same thing. You go through those settings, and then you just click menu section and decide which of the items that are already in your menu you want to include under that one section. So all you have to do is check off those boxes that say add to group. You come out and you click save, and that will give you the format that will look like this, right? We've done it a couple times. We've also done it here. So we can click on that pencil icon for connect. That is the group of menus. And we'll see under that menu section that we've checked off those pieces to be all included under that one section. As you can see, right, and I mentioned you have a YouTube widget, so you can always include a video there. We have some widgets for social media platforms as well. So we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, where all you have to do is once you pull that over, you go through those settings, you'll click on that URL piece and include that information right within these lines here. The tracks one is really, really interesting, right? This is what I mentioned earlier that focuses on those different events that will pull in different topics or different people, right? So all you have to do is pull over that track. Once again, you go through those settings, give it a name, but then you'll click manage sessions in track. This is going to bring up any of those events that are related to this event hub, right? So all of these are going to appear. You can filter by those that are already in the track or take a look at those that are currently not in the track and be able to add them in by utilizing those checkboxes there. Now, one thing that I really like to say and that most people may not know at the start of things is once you have created your event hub and you've come here to create your event details, that is going to create the event in your actual group. So if you navigate over to events within this group, you'll see that there. You'll also want to make sure that any of those other events that you end up creating are going to be assigned to this event as the parent event, right? So that's going to be something really important. That's going to allow those events to all show up under that section when we're going to look at them under not in track, right? If we're managing sessions in track. Some folks might come here and they'll say, hey, I clicked on, in track or not in track, and I don't see any of my, child events that I've created. Well, that is probably because they haven't yet been linked to the parent event. So you'll want to make sure whenever you are creating those child events that they are indeed linked to the parent event so that they show up. I'm going to pause for a second. Yep, that's perfect. We got about 5 minutes before we hop back into the main room. I'm going to see if there's any questions from anything I've gone over so far or any questions in general. Elizabeth, I'm not sure if yours has been answered yet, but please feel free to let me know if it has not.
My only question is to the bulk load for events being added to the parent event. Is there a on the roadmap to expand the fields for that data sheet?
You're mentioning the event upload.
Mm-hmm.
And which fields are you looking to have expanded, or could you tell me a little bit more?
Well, the upload for the bulk load for this event hub doesn't include the same fields from the bulk load that's available to admins through the admin event bulk load. So I think if you we haven't outlined it, but it didn't give us as many options as the event bulk load from the admin section.
And yeah, I understand. I've not heard from our product team as to whether or not there's going to be some updates made to that specifically. Of course, we can certainly check in and follow back up with you if there are, any plans with regard to the roadmap to make those updates or to, expand those capabilities. But I haven't yet seen or heard. I'm not sure, Catherine, if you've heard anything different as it pertains.
No, I haven't. And I think with that particular piece, a challenge that comes into play is with the admin upload, that's being accessed from the admin menu, and it's really restricted to that type of permission, whereas the event hubs can be managed by a group. So the upload that can be accessible there is going to look different, but I think it's certainly worth exploring and having a conversation if there's an option to have admin upload capabilities connected to an event hub. So we can certainly pass that feedback to our team.
Mm-hmm. Also, and I can provide later just what is significant in this for those group users to be able to bulk load in when they're creating like a large conference, for instance.
Yeah, the fields that would be useful to update in mass versus one by one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I do see we have a couple of questions in the chat. So Nate mentioned that he's been working with support on links not updating in all the different versions of the iOS iPhones at the same time. Is that happening to others? So if anyone wants to provide feedback if that's happening, and Nate, if you have a ticket number for that, which I'm sure you do, shoot me an email with that number over, and I can certainly check into that and get some feedback from our team on what's going on there. Or if
I can send that to you. I found I like the new update. I just found some of the things are glitchy. And I have a number of different tickets in trying to rectify this. At one point, we had 3 different versions of our app out there, where iOS 14 did it one way, iOS 13 Pro did it another way, iOS 13 did it another way. And then like 48 hours later, it all switched and it was normal. So I'm just curious. Sometimes I feel like we're just crazy, and I'm like, am I the only one that's having this happen to? But I'm just curious if this is a system-wide or is this just an us problem?
Yeah, great question. I don't want to say one way or the other because I'm not sure. I haven't had that particular feedback shared with me, but I can certainly help facilitate looking into that and getting some clarity on if that is hopefully just resolved and no longer something that's being experienced, but also if it's impacting other clients as well. It sounds like Michelle maybe had similar issues, so it might have been a little more widespread. So you're not crazy, Nate, don't worry. But we'll certainly try to help get moving that forward for you. And then Megan, what is the difference between the ID card and the QR code scanner? I'm thinking for students checking into event, which would be more efficient. Any thoughts on that, Lewis?
Yeah, so the ID card is going to be a QR code that is specific to that user's profile. And so some campuses will utilize it to scan that user's ID card, that QR code, if they have already registered for an event, scan them to check them in. The QR code scanner is to allow the user to scan a QR code to check in, which often is the more efficient way and more useful way that we have seen campuses utilize checking into the process. So typically, right, when you have an event, you have the QR code being pulled up and you instruct students, whomever is coming to the room or in the space, hey, everyone, go ahead and open up your Campus Groups app, scan this QR code, and they can do that with the QR code scanner. So that's the difference between the two. I think we see it a little bit more, utilizing the QR code scanner to scan the event QR code versus having an officer or admin scanning the QR code of a student's ID. You're very welcome. Awesome. Last few pieces that I want to say, I know they'll probably pull us back in just a bit, or maybe we're supposed to hop back, but I just want to point out a few other aspects. The checklist one is really helpful, of course, right? I showed that checklist one earlier. That's going to allow you, once again, if you have built out a checklist in your platform, you can pull that over. And every checklist that you do create comes with its own URL. So all you have to do is copy and paste that right in that section, and you will have built out that checklist right within your Event Hub there as well. But as you can see, tons of other pieces here. The dashboard is also really helpful. It's going to show you so much expanded information regarding your Event Hub, how many features are there, attendees, the sessions, the number of surveys or forums you have. So you'll see those pieces of information. You'll see information regarding metrics within your Event Hub and the types of users that are there, what type of devices that they have, likes or comments. So if you're looking for those analytics and that data there, that's going to be right, once again, under your dashboard and metrics. And then finally, there is a promote button there that's going to allow you to get the word out about your hub, right? It's going to already come with this image here on the left-hand side, but you can click this edit button to actually edit what that looks like. So you can change what the top description says. You can change the steps 1, 2, and 3 at the bottom. You can choose the color as well as a different promote image. So lots of campuses will either send this out via email or print it out, put it on a flyer, post it around campus, whatever the case may be. That's going to be the best way for you to utilize the platform to promote that.
I have a question on those promotion pieces. Is that something that is created just for like the system in general, or is that only for the event hubs?
This piece is only going to be for the Event Hub. There's a couple, maybe one other way. We do see that groups have the capability to promote their own group as well. So any group that you hop into will come when officers are on that page. They will see the button will say, I'll have it up in just a second, but it'll say join flyer and join link, something like that. Let me just take a quick peek here. If we hop into this group, there we go. Yeah, right up here. So there is a join link and QR code that officers can grab, send this out to folks, or they can click on this join flyer button that's going to automatically download a flyer there. I do not believe that piece is customizable, but that is another section where it does something very similar to the Event Hub. But I don't think there are other parts of the platform where it has that same type of promote option. I'm going to be the Event Hub, the Community Hub as well. Like you can have your regular community app as well as the group one. Each group will have that.
Cool, thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. So I think we are probably due. Oh, there it is, 60 seconds to head back over. So I will see you all over there. I hope this also was helpful.